everybody, and welcome back to the Fortress of Solitude. Today we're going to be talking about Absolute Wonder Woman issue 19, written by Kelly Thompson, with art by Hayden Sherman, colors by Jordi Belair, and letters by Becca Carey. Wonder Woman's battle with the Eternal Flame heats up as in the past. Aphrodite talks with Circe in private, revealing that she will not be able to visit the island anymore. Circe knows that Diana will be very upset with this, and Aphrodite knows that that's the problem, since she doesn't intend it to be that way. It just is that way, and while her powers have many facets, loving Diana is not entirely a choice. She gave that power to Diana. Aphrodite reveals that while she didn't give a lot of her power to Diana, it was enough to smooth her path forward, make it so that others would want to join her. This is a huge revelation to open the issue with. Wonder Woman has a fraction of the god Aphrodite's powers, and it's why she's able to appeal to so many different people and befriend them, from just normal people all the way up to villains. It's something we've seen time and time again throughout this series and be probably her most powerful ability. Circe realizes this means that Diana will never know if someone is legitimately loving her, or if it's because of this power she now has over everyone. Aphrodite defends her actions, since Diana needs a piece from her patron goddesses, and she never experienced her own power before, until she met Diana, and now she understands it fully. Aphrodite isn't worried though, since she knows Diana will use the power as intended, but Circe can feel a big but coming up. Aphrodite begins to cry, citing how thanks to giving Diana the power, she has made the most horrific and lonely prison for the girl, and she didn't mean that, and because of it, she has also bound and chained the world when all they sought was to be free. This is such a huge thing and makes so much of the series just kind of click together really nicely. Diana using this power unknowingly though does raise some questions, like was it all just the power, or was it also just Diana's doing? Like, was she willing that to happen, or was the power just reacting to what was going on around her? Since if that power is taken away, can she still inspire or make allies easily? Or even if the idea that the power becomes known to people and people realize this, like I could see that being taken as people thinking it's her using some sort of mind control over them, and then that could turn people against her. I'm sure Thompson has thought about every facet of this idea, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how she's going to take us through it. Since so far it's really compelling. I love the idea that Diana's biggest power, this thing that up until now we thought was just her like innate goodness, is something from the gods. That's so interesting. In the present, Gateway City is a war zone as Steve and Etta carry some people to safety. Before some rubble can fall on them, they are protected by a green shield, something both don't recognize. They finally make it back to Gia's shop, where they find the shield was thanks to Gia, who along with several others conducting a ritual are beginning to pray to Hecate to protect Gateway City and to protect its people. Steve spots a woman becoming sick in the ritual circle, going to aid her and taking her place in it, praying to Hecate. So I can't be the only one who thinks this is some real cult shit happening here, and probably going to be a byproduct of the love power Diana got from Aphrodite. It's gotten so out of hand with some of these people that they just love her so much that they're willing to start ritual sacrifice circles to try and give protection to Diana and to her people. I mean, there's a woman here who very clearly, like, the spell took too much out of her and she passed out. So it only takes it to one step further where, you know, people are starting to die because of this. So this is what I was just saying before, how like it's going to go over that threshold where people are going to start to question it and be realizing like, oh, is it mind control? Is this like some sort of cult stuff happening here? What's going on? And that's going to turn people against her. It's thoroughly interesting. It's, again, this is also just here in the book and we kind of gloss over it a little bit, but just the idea that these people are just trying to appease Diana by making like protection spells that, you know, cause people to pass out is just insane. It's just another thing Diana is going to have to deal with it down the line, since even she isn't aware of the power she has, especially since she has been told that her compassion and love is something that she just naturally has. Wonder Woman meanwhile battles Giovanni Zatanna, finding herself conflicted, which isn't a good thing while using the Troika. She tries to gird her mind since the Troika will do the work for her, and the lasso wraps around Giovanni, making him finally submit to its power and face the truth. The Troika takes Giovanni into his own mind, where he is no longer on fire and is back into his human form. Diana watches as the man finds his wife Cindella and young daughter Zatanna, as they were the last time he remembers seeing them. The man believes that Wonder Woman wants him to choose between his daughter or wife, but Diana knows that he chose long ago, and his choice allowed those with power to shape a new reality around him. Fire creeps up on Giovanni, but Diana tells him not to take it again since it's not real. I love the visualization of the lassos of truth helping someone find the truth and how it breaks mind control. It's just so much better than the person, getting tied up, the lasso glows, and then admitting to a truth or admitting to lying or something like that. It's a bit more visual and a bit more spectacle. Diana implores Giovanni to accept what he has done, otherwise he'll be chained to this moment until he accepts it. As Giovanni reckons with the truth, Zatanna appears, worming her way into the dream via a portal, telling her father that she is there to help. He thinks it's just another trick though, but Zatanna tells him that if it was a spell, it would be backwards. She grabs her father's hand, telling him how much she missed him as they return to reality, leaving Diana stuck in the dream world. So I feel this is Zatanna kind of turning on Diana a little bit here. She knew Wonder Woman would try and use the lasso to try and get to her father, and this is like the perfect opportunity for her to swoop in, rescue her father, and then Diana is just kind of left to do her own thing, and that own thing is her being trapped in the Troika. And I honestly really like it. I like the idea that Zatanna in this world is just kind of out for herself and her family and doesn't have any illusions of being a hero or anything. I do hope that we don't get the obvious redemption arc. That being said, they are setting up this whole thing with Aphrodite where Diana literally has a power that will allow people to feel like they can be allies with her and redeem themselves in Wonder Woman's eyes. So I imagine it's going to continue that way. I just kind of hope it doesn't, just because Zatanna feels like a really nice foil to Diana and her power that makes people fall in love with her. Giganta, meanwhile, has managed to wake up from the spell Diana cast on her, telling Kale that she's the only one of the Suicide Squad left. Kale reveals that Zatanna is out there, but he's locked in combat with Wonder Woman and they cannot get in contact with him since he's cocooned in some type of energy. Giganta finds Wonder Woman, telling Kale that the hero is the one trapping Zatanna. Kale, though, is more interested in Barbara Ann, who is nearby helping some trapped people. She tells Giganta to kidnap Barbara, and if she does so, she'll give the villain another chance at Wonder Woman. Giganta grabs Barbara, threatening to squash the woman if she keeps moving. Barbara doesn't give up the fight though, biting Zul's hand, but all it does is make the villain actually like Barb more, finding the little woman hilarious. So if I had to guess, this is the beginning of Barbara Ann's journey to becoming Cheetah. We saw that the last Cheetah died a horrible death last issue, so I imagine Kale is probably going to want to, replace that Cheetah or do something. She's going to experiment on Barbara Ann, no doubt, as a way of getting back at Wonder Woman and turn her into something. But also, we have seen quite a few times that Barbara Ann's inquisitive nature leads her down dangerous paths. She was snooping around the Heron earlier on, where Wonder Woman had to kind of stop her from touching things she wasn't meant to be touching. So maybe it goes that way and she stumbles into something she wasn't meant to, and then ends up getting the Cheetah curse. Or we don't even know if it's a Cheetah curse in this universe. It could be just one of Kale's sick experiments. I'm intrigued to see what they're going to do with her, because if they're setting her up as Cheetah, so far nothing is hinting at that she will be a villain, unless it's being something that's forced upon her to fight Wonder Woman. Back in the city, Zatanna finally reunites with his daughter, wanting to get him out of the area before Kale realizes what has happened. In a really interesting turn of events, Zatanna actually goes back to Diana, finding that she is stuck within the Troika still. Zatanna tries to help her out, finding that she is still alive, and Zatanna knows that she is trapped at the crossroads, since when Zatanna pulled him out, she broke the connection between him and Diana, and it left Diana trapped inside. Zatanna begins to cry since she didn't mean for any of this to happen, and now she can't get through to Diana since the hero isn't letting her in. So I didn't actually expect Zatanna to come back for Diana. I was kind of hoping they'd kind of keep her as kind of sort of a villain anti-hero who's kind of in it for herself, got the selfish reasons going, is like the only one who isn't affected by Diana's whole Aphrodite love thing. But I guess we're not going there. I guess Thompson's kind of using this to highlight that whole Aphrodite love power thing where Zatanna is so, enamored by Wonder Woman here that she's burst into tears because she can't help her, or she inadvertently hurt Diana. So I can see where it's going. I just kind of wish that Zatanna was kept as like a selfish anti-hero. Zatanna doesn't know what to do, so her father tells her to be someone else, reminding her Diana's weapons, armor, and power are all from various gods and legends. He grabs Diana's tiara, telling Zatanna that maybe whoever is imbued in the tiara can help them. Zatanna recognizes the stone is that of a Circe stone, remembering Circe is Diana's mother. Giganta soon arrives to kill Diana, so Zatanna leaves to deal with the giant as Zatanna smashes the tiara, unleashing its power. So this is the redemption arc I said before I didn't really want to see from Zatanna. I like that she was just the selfish anti-hero who wasn't drawn in by Diana's influence thanks to her own affinity for magic or some other reason. And I liked her just being a lot more cynical about, being a hero and just wanting to save people. It's a great contrast for Diana. We obviously still could have that, but I find her turning into a bit of a hero here a bit too obvious. That's like the obvious thing that was going to happen. Smashing the tiara turns Zatanna into Circe, who grabs the troika and calls out to Diana, hoping the presence of her mother will help pull her from the crossroads. Zatanna meanwhile battles Giganta, blasting her across the city with his magic. Zatanna being alive is quite fun. I like that. Usually he's long dead by the time we get to Zatanna, or she's investigating his murder, his ghost might still be around or something like that. But I like that he's here teaming with his daughter. It's cool, but I feel it's kind of a ticking clock since killing him off is absolutely going to be some sort of motivation for Zatanna now that they're going the hero route with her. It's going to further push her against Kale and thus back into Diana's embrace and make her another hero that Diana teams up with here and there. Zatanna, disguised as Circe, manages to slip into the crossroads and grabs Diana's hand. As Diana is freed from the troika, she can feel the consequences for failing with the troika, only she doesn't know what they will be. As they enter the real world, Circe transforms back into Zatanna, who apologizes for taking on that form, but it was the only way that they could get Diana out. Diana understands, glad that Zatanna came back for her, and as Zatanna is drawn in by Diana's influence, Zatanna teleports Giganta back to her cell in Area 41, much to the anger of Kale, who laments how much she hates magic. She learns that they have no agents in the field now, what with Dr. Poison having been completely disappeared after Wonder Woman threw her into space, and the Man-Fish Queen disappearing on them. Kale decides it's time to deploy the Iron Maiden for Zatanna, screaming at her subordinate to activate it despite it being a populated city. The device is activated and fired into the city as Zatanna feels its presence, telling Wonder Woman and Zatanna they need to leave immediately. The women want to just teleport them all away, but Zatanna reveals that the torture device, the Iron Maiden, will lock onto their signal and chase them down until he is caught, since Kale bound him to the Iron Maiden, and there is no escaping it no matter where they go in the world. Wonder Woman doesn't take that as an option though, blessing Zatanna in Hecate's name as she races off to confront the Iron Maiden, which has arrived in Gateway City and transformed into a giant mechanical monster. Absolute Wonder Woman issue 19 had some pretty massive revelations when it came down to Diana and how she is able to garner followers and allies through her influence. I love the return of all of the stuff set in the Wild Isle, getting more revelations about how Diana does what she does and how she can do it. And I also like that it dives into the core aspects of what makes Diana who she is. And Thompson tied it very nicely in with the present day stuff about Zatanna realizing that she too can be a hero and make a difference. We're seeing that influence again from Diana wearing off on some of the other characters who are a bit more dubious in who they serve. I can't wait to see how Zatanna and Zatanna's story concludes in the next couple of issues. I think we're coming to an end of her story arc for at least now, but I'm intrigued to see where they go from here. Like, do they spin off into their own thing a little later on in the year, or are they just going to be mainstays in this book? I'd like them to be mainstays. I think they're a great companion piece to Diana as well, and it just adds a bit more of that magical aspect I really like to the book. I'm going to give this issue a 9 out of 10.